Hello and welcome to Parenting After Dark. My name is Antoinette Clay and I am the host. And I'm so happy that you have decided to join me tonight. I've been experiencing a little technical difficulty, but I'm not going to let that stop me. That doesn't stop no show, right? So I'm glad that everyone is deciding to tune in. I know that it's a Sunday evening and usually you're preparing for the week. But I just wanted to start off by saying thank you for taking the time to join. Thank you for taking the time to like and to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. As a parent, I have always desired in some way to help other parents, to encourage them, to support them, to inspire them. Parenting is really hard sometimes. And then there are days when it's just a pure joy. And then there's all the days in between. But despite all of that, I just wanted to send this word of encouragement to you to hang in there. You're doing great, number one. And number two, to just, you know, this platform, I want to use it as a way to build community, as a way to help other parents to come together and to share information, advice, tips, and even their story if possible, because it is in sharing our story that we can really help people. Because a lot of times people feel alone. They feel like I'm the only one really going through this, or am I the only one really feeling this way? And in actuality, no. But in sharing our stories, we give encouragement to one another. And so that's what this is birthed out of, me wanting to share my parenting journey, some of the things that I did well, some of the things that I had to work on and am still working on, some of the things that have brought me the most joy, but also the things that I had to struggle with. And there was a lot of struggles. Unfortunately, for me, I learned on the job training with parenting. There was a lot of things that I just did not know. I didn't have an understanding, and I really didn't know how to ask for help. And I was really honestly, I was afraid to ask for help because I just felt like it was like, okay, who can I really talk to and be truly and authentically me and share my fears and anxiety and my hopes and dreams without, that person in some way possibly standing in judgment or being critical or lacking empathy, right? And so it really stopped me from really enjoying parenting the way I could because I really felt like there was no one I can really talk to. And, I grew up in that time where you just, you were raised or you were taught in your home not to share things, not to tell your business, right? And so out of that, I suffered. I suffered in silence. And I found myself praying a lot of shot in the dark prayers. Lord, help me with this because I don't know. Lord, if it's your will. Lord, am I doing this right? And so all of that insecurity and guilt because you missed a mark or maybe you yelled one too many times, whatever that may be, um, all of that uh, for me was sort of a game changer because I began to realize, okay, I need to find some way to get information, find some way to build a community, get a support system going. And I didn't know quite how to do that. I didn't know quite what my role was as a parent. And again, this podcast is going to be focusing on what is your role as a parent? What do you actually should be doing? There are some things that you must and we must teach our children, but then there are other things that we will not be able to teach them. Because one of the things I had to realize was that I can't teach my daughter everything. I couldn't. There were a lot of things I could teach her, being a woman, and things of that nature. There was a lot of things I could teach her about life. And there was a lot of things that I can teach her about faith, which I did. I imparted a lot of faith because I knew no matter what, that if I wasn't around or if she didn't have someone that she can talk to or call on, she can always pray and she can always talk to God. And so I instilled that because she was the only child. And so I felt like that for me as a parent was the best thing that I could ever do. It was the best thing that I can ever do in terms of preparing my child for life. Because in all reality, we really have about 18 years to kind of get them on this path and to get them established. And then they're off. They're off into the world to live their lives. And so I just want to encourage you today that this platform and this podcast is going to be about encouraging you, providing you with enrichment, providing you with inspiration. I want to talk about the difficult conversations, the things that most parents are not willing to really open up and say because you, again, you don't want to be judged. You don't want um, to feel as though, or you don't want people to assume, right, that you're not a good parent or that you're having certain thoughts, but you need to talk about it. We need to talk about them. Like the fact that there are days when you love your children, you really do, and then there are other days you're struggling with that, or there are days when you don't really like them, right? You don't like the behavior, you don't like the attitude, and that's natural. But how do you deal with that? How do you get past that so that you can have healthy, loving, thriving relationships with your children? How do you deal with the fact that the other parent may not be involved? And so, like myself, you are single parenting. You're doing everything all the time. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the emotions that come with that? Where you may feel resentment towards the other parent. You may feel some other things as well. But how do you deal with that and it not affect your parenting? Because in actuality, there's a possibility that it will. There's a possibility that you may experiencing these different emotions and you just really don't know how to deal with it, right? I want to help you to work that out, to talk about that. I want to help inspire you. What are your hopes and dreams? A lot of times, for me as a single mom, I put a lot of what I wanted on the back burner because I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the capacity to really multitask in that way. And I want to encourage you that you don't have to put your dreams on hold, on the back burner. You don't have to put your hopes and your desires on the back burner. That you can do it. It may be minimal, but consistency over time, you'll be able to experience, life in the way that you want it to experience. And another thing I just want to mention is that children are a blessing. It's hard to believe sometimes, right? It's hard to wrap your head around that concept sometimes, but they are. And no matter what happened, whether they, you know, uh, listen or not, they are a blessing. Okay. And they are certainly not here. And I want to say this respectfully, they're not here by accident. Although sometimes, pregnancy is unplanned, but it's never by accident, meaning that they have a purpose. And as a parent, our role, because they are our children, we're supposed to help them discover that purpose and help them to navigate life. And so, again, I want to just go back to the fact that, you know, I didn't have a lot of understanding. I had to actually, like most people, draw on my own childhood experiences to really help me to kind of navigate being a parent myself. And my experiences were okay. They were nothing grand, but I knew that there was something more. There was something more that I wanted to give her. There was something more that I wanted to teach. There was something more that I wanted to pour into her because ultimately, you want your kids to do better in life than what you did. You want them to excel and you want them to do great and you want them to live their best life, right? And so, with that being said, it takes understanding. There is some things that you're going to have to do to ensure that not only you bringing them up in the right way, but to ensure that they have a successful life and they mimic us. What we do, they do. And so, therefore, we have to lead by example. We have to lead by example in every way. You're not perfect. No one's perfect. It's not about perfection. Just about really doing your best and being open to learn, being open to hear with understanding, to respond instead of reacting, right? And so I just want to encourage you. I just want to encourage you today that you can do this. One, number two, that your children love you. Is sometimes I know that that's like something that we struggle, we wonder when we do a lot of correction or when we do a lot of disciplining, but they love us, right? And they think the world of us. And do they get mad at us? Yes. Do they mumble under their breath? Yes, they do all of that. But at the end of the day, they love us. And we, as parents, have to do our part in really helping them to, again, navigate, helping them to understand, teaching them, nurturing them. Sometimes, those things are kind of hard to do when you may feel like you lack certain things or you don't feel as secure. But nurturing them, loving them, respecting them, hearing them, listening to them, and being intentional about these things. You know, it's not just about them doing right or wrong, it's about them understanding, okay, this is what you should be doing, or this is what you must do, or this is how you do this. And so we are acting also as guides, not just teachers, but as guides. And again, it's about relating. It's about relating with mutual respect and understanding. Are they always going to see eye to eye? Of course not. As they grow and develop in their own personality, they have, certain values and beliefs. And part of parenting is helping to shape those values and beliefs. And so, I spent a lot of time in prayer and I'm like, Lord, I just don't know. But there were things that He would just drop in my heart and I just knew to do that and it would work. Or I knew to say a specific thing or to instruct and say, you know what? Just because, you yell at your kids or you may yell a lot at, let's just say hypothetically, you yell a lot at them, right? The reality is that's not a major thing. But there is a better way to respond and speak to them. So you can speak with them with the same intensity of emotion, but being firmer and a softer tone, giving more eye contact. There are other things you can do to get that same message across without, yelling and just losing it, right? But that takes time. That takes time to develop, it takes time to learn. And so a lot of times we get on the job training, right? Because, you know, that's just how it is. We get on the job training, you don't know, and you're reacting and not responding. And so the more you begin to just really make that connection in your mind, like right before you do something, like, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to do what I need to do. Take a deep breath, relax, collect my thoughts, and then I'm going to approach the issue. And so, again, it's about being intentional. You need to, there's that praying part of it too, because God understands. Your child was just not given to you, just to get on your nerves or whatever. Sometimes we think, like, oh my God, what is really going on? But I realized as a parent myself that parenting revealed who I really was, what I really struggled with. It revealed my capacity and my character. And I was taken back, but I had to be truly open to the fact that I need some adjustment. I need to do some things differently. This is not working. Everything doesn't have to be a fight. Everything doesn't have to be a war. Everything doesn't have to be where you're upset or mad or angry all the time. You, as the adult, have you know, I want to say the right word. You, as the adult, have the more of the responsibility of setting the tone, of doing things in the right way. And again, it goes back to being intentional, getting some understanding, building your network of village support of other parents who you can call and talk to in that 5 minutes to kind of like help you, to navigate these emotions and everything. And then when you're calmer, you can actually go and sit down either with your journal. I like to do this in prayer or in reading my word. I like to actually sit down and just go through some things. Why did I have to feel like I'm going to Mach 10? Why was something as little as not washing a dish so irritating or whatever? And you have to really do that reflection. That reflection will offer you a lot of understanding. That reflection will offer you a lot of insight into you, into how you're feeling or what you're feeling exactly. And it's hard work, but it can be done. With the right people around you, with the right support system, you can navigate and come through uh, life, especially, as a parent, you can come through this and you're going to see the joys of it. You put in the work and you will see the joys of it later on. Children are a blessing. And, sometimes, just in that blessing, you understand and recognize what's really important, and in the life that we're living in, whether we have one child, five, six, or whatever, they are a blessing. They have a purpose. And we have to help them to understand that purpose. We have to help them to understand their identity and who they are, why they do what they do, you know? Uh, and this takes on a whole different aspect of parenting because there comes a time when you're teaching where you're guiding them. Later on when they become teenagers, you're kind of walking beside them and you're helping to guide because the teaching and the instructing, all of that throughout the early years and then into teenage years, you're more guiding because they're becoming young adults. So you have to allow them to make mistakes. You have to allow them to discover, who they are, what they like, and so forth. And then into young adulthood, parenting takes on a different role. And it's almost like you become friends, not that you actually do, but you become more friends because it's different now. You understand them better. They understand you as a parent better. And the respect is different. And so this podcast, I want to kind of like talk about all of that and the in between stuff. What do you do when you don't really feel like doing it anymore? How do you handle that? When you feel like, I'm doing this all by myself, I didn't plan on this. How do you cope? How do you manage? Understanding, your child's temperament and personality, and remembering that it's not just you, but it's the other parent as well. And so you may see your child. There will be, not may, there will be times where you will see that other parent in the child and navigating that, and not trying not to pop off at them when you see the other person as if it's them. It's not them, but they may have some attributes and characteristics of the other parent. And so how do how do you navigate that? Um, and so I want the conversations to be enriching. I want you guys to share your questions. And I want you to think about this question: what has been the most challenging for you as a parent? If you can drop it in the chat, that would be great. If you want to email, you can email that to me. But what has been your greatest challenge as a parent, and what has been your greatest joy? Because these are the two questions that you're going to toggle with back and forth throughout this journey, right? And you're going to be able to, you're going to, quite honestly, you're going to be adding to those lists. You're going to be adding to that list of joys and then the list of challenges. And it is my hope that you would allow me to just share some of my stories, my ups and downs, my challenges, and my joys as being a parent, because you may find some hope there. You will definitely find some inspiration and some encouragement. And again, it's about empowering you. One of the things that, and I'll say this, and I don't want to, stay on too long, but one of the things that I really struggled with was my confidence, not only as a person, but as a parent. I felt like I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And so I felt as like, honestly, like, okay, Lord, you're going to have to help me. Like, there's some things that I felt pretty good about, pretty certain about. But when it came to parenting, it's like all of the things that I was feeling, it was being brought to the surface. And I love my daughter. I mean, I'll give my life for her. And she wasn't the issue. It was my stuff. So in my parenting journey, I had to learn to deal with my stuff and manage it and get healed and so forth, while bringing her up, nurturing, loving, caring, kind. And a lot of times I found myself hiding certain things, but she saw it. Was for her, it was clear. She wouldn't tell me until later on, but I was like, wow, I didn't even think that she realized that. And so, I, again, just going through this journey, I learned a lot about me. And that's what I want. I want to help you to learn a lot about you as a person who, in this role as a parent. And I think that's where we'll start. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to uh, the next episode next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. Again, send me that information. What has been your challenge? What has been your joy? What you know, what has been the most uh, challenge for you. I want to say the most challenged. And what has been the most joy for you as a parent? And listen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for just giving me a few minutes to really just share with you. I look forward to seeing you next week.